What is up, everybody? This is Edward back with another video, another episode. Everybody Hates Black Men. I'm your host, Edward Anderson. So basically, I want to talk about the Crystal Mangum situation. I should have probably talked about this a week ago, but we're talking about it now. So I live in Raleigh, North Carolina. Went to middle school here, high school here. So I was a year out of high school when this happened. When this took place, I was a year out of high school, and I'm a Duke fan actually, and this was a huge thing. This was a huge thing that happened. I mean, this was all over the news, all over the local news. And so I very much remember this case. And one thing I want to talk about this today is because this is kind of a precursor to a lot of the Me Too stuff. Even though the Me Too movement and stuff will happen about, like 10 years later, 8 years later. This is a lot of precursors to that, even though at the time it was known this chick had lied and I'm going to get into the article in a second, but she said she lied in 2008 and all of that, which is 2 years after this. The prosecutor got disbarred and a lot of stuff happened. And so let me just lay a couple of things out right here. First of all, it does not escape me that this case makes white dudes look sympathetic, and should these guys have gone through that? No, they shouldn't have, because basically the prosecutor was really, a lot of this stuff was politically motivated. The prosecutor had evidence this didn't happen, but they wanted to push the evidence, which is why I got this part. It's interesting this comes out now, this is popular now, because one article that feeds into a greater narrative that you usually shouldn't be believing all women, and people will use this narrative for whatever they want. White dudes will use this narrative that they've been getting persecuted because they're white. And that's the narrative certain people are going to push out there. You have people that's going to push out the narrative you shouldn't believe all women, which you shouldn't. And this is one example. Even before all this stuff was popping off, people a lot of times will reference this, even though this did not happen. This is like a clear example that women lie, because people don't want to tell the truth about a lot of this stuff as far as men of power and stuff like that. What happens is people start having to kind of appease people with these little false things in order to try to act like you're doing something, when in actuality, people you really need to be dealing with, you're not. Remember, Jeffrey Epstein and stuff was still active with all of this. And honestly, this chick should have went to jail for lying, to be honest with. Like, she made it up. There needs to be a criminal penalty for that. And I don't want to hear the women are just afraid of coming out. I've said it before, this is why a lot of these chicks don't like to have these kits done, because these kits tell the whole story of a lot of different stuff that they don't want out there. So they try to run to these lawsuits and then just say, well, this man was so powerful, it was just nothing I can do. Well, this is a situation that proves that's not necessarily the truth. So anyway, we're going to jump into this article. So here we go. Duke Lacrosse accuser Crystal Mangum says she lied about 2006 rape allegations. So yeah, I was 1 year out of high school when this happened. The woman who accused 3 Duke University lacrosse players of sexual assault has now said she lied about the allegations nearly 2 decades after the story became a national discussion, according to a recent interview she did while incarcerated for an unrelated murder. Murder, you say? Crystal Mangum, a former exotic dancer, confessed to lying about the crime she alleged David Evans, Colin Finnerty, and Raid Sillingam committed at a party in 2006 during an interview with the online show Let's Talk with Kat, hosted by former model Katarina Dispoquel, whatever her name is. I testified falsely against them by saying that they arred me when they didn't, and that was wrong, and I betrayed the trust of a lot of people who believed in me, Mangum said in an interview conducted on November 13th at the North Carolina Correctional Institution for Women. I made up a story that wasn't true because I wanted validation from people and not from God. Of course you did. Despite Mangum's initial testimony, Evans, Finnerty, and Sillingam were cleared by the then North Carolina Attorney General Roy Cooper in 2007. So Roy Cooper is the outgoing governor right now, literally outgoing, and replaced by another Democrat who is an attorney general. So this goes to show you how far back he goes. After her story of events on the night of March 13, 2006 became murky, according to prior media reports, damage was still done as Duke's men's lacrosse coach Mike Presser resigned and the university camps remained in the scene. That's crazy. It's a lot of money and stuff like that over a chick's lies. I hope that they can forgive me, Mangum said to Despicable about the three Duke lacrosse students she falsely accused. I want them to know I love them and they didn't deserve that. I hope they can forgive me. Here's what to know about the case to gain national attention with the woman who was at the center of it. Keep in mind that this was a precursor to a lot of the Me Too and stuff that you would see like 10 years later. All of this was like a precursor. This was like one of the Exhibit A type of stories that you can kind of go back to. And this is way before Red Pill, way before all of that. Um, why is Crystal Mangum in prison? Mangum is currently serving a 18-year prison for second degree murder related to the fatal stabbing of her then boyfriend Reginald Day on April 13, 2011. According to media reports at the time, she claimed the stabbing was in self defense because Day was beating her. So keep in mind that this is 5 years after this Duke Lacrosse situation. Just keep that in mind. Since being in prison, Mangum told the interviewer that she reads the Bible mostly. When asked to describe her time in prison with one word, Mangum responded, growth. Before becoming an exotic dancer, Mangum attended North Carolina Central and studied psychology. Of course you did, because that's what y'all study when y'all not really doing nothing. She told the interviewer she attributed her career move to searching for validation and looking for love and acceptance. According to the nearly 12-minute long interview, please, she wanted money. That's what it is. You want fast money, and psychology wasn't going to get you there. The interviewer told USA Today on Friday she interviewed Mangum because people in the Durham, North Carolina area are still intrigued by the case. While some saw her as a pariah, others viewed her as a victim. So to find out for herself, the interviewer asked the prison's communication team that vetted her to approve the interview. For me, it was important for me. Okay, this is why she said she wanted to do the interview, so it's not necessary. What happened in Duke Lacrosse case? Mangum initially told police in 2006 she was being AR'd while attending a team party hosted by Duke's men's lacrosse team. And March 13th of that year, the players hired and paid her and another exotic dancer to strip at the party. The accused, and I gotta pause this, and I'll probably talk about this on the other side of this, but like, you're in a university like Duke. You're hiring strippers, and you decide. Now, I don't know if the other one's black, and obviously, these people didn't deserve to go through all of this. But this is kind of like one of these things that people are aware of this now, and got to keep in mind this is 2006. But you just got to be aware that, like now people are, and I'm not putting that on them, but that don't even sound like a good idea. You go to a school, you go to Duke, you're part of a team, you're hiring a stripper for a team event. That in and of itself don't even sound right. Like, for real. Mike Nifong also told NBC, the accusations garnered national attention with Mike Nifong, the then Durham County Attorney General and lead prosecutor in the case, telling CBS News that there's no doubt the sexual assault took place, according to documents. Another attorney's disbarment in 2007. Yeah, and more of these prosecutors need to be disbarred. But obviously, because he dealt with who he dealt with and the type of people he dealt with, they wanted to make an example. Nifong also told NBC TV News, which is now known as WNCN, on March 2006, that the information I have does lead me to conclude the art that occurred. And I don't need to read this word for word, but what y'all need to know, the DNA evidence was not traced back to lacrosse players. Subsequently, Nifong was disbarred on 2006 by the North Carolina State Bar for lying and withholding the crucial DNA evidence. And that's another thing. They had the evidence, and he basically withheld it because they didn't do what he wanted to do. And this was a political move, and attorney generals definitely need to be disbarred for that type of stuff. More of them should, to be honest. Basically, they ended up suing Durham. They ended up suing the state, Durham, the school. They ended up going to different schools and graduating. They said she didn't admit to lying about the allegations until 2008. Which is only 2 years after it. So again, and obviously she be out here again, and this is, and I'm not believe all women. You can't believe all women because women lie. And even before, remember, this is years before Me Too. So again, women lie. I'm sorry. We need to stop acting like women don't lie. Like, we gotta stop acting like that, and I don't. We gotta stop seeing it's going for the truth. It's persecution, because these women know how to tell good lies. So anyway, this is basically the article. So with that being said, yeah. So as y'all can see with the article, this was some crazy work. This was some crazy stuff right here. Like I said, when they swing this pendulum, they're gonna definitely make black women the face of not telling the truth about assault. And this is one of these things that black women need to be very mindful of, because it's like they don't understand. They can and will be thrown under the bus. They will have you. I mean, even when you look at the article, how she's talking about she got into it because she wanted validation. No, you didn't. You wanted fast money. You want the same thing that they want now. You want fast money. And because you want fast money, you got involved in that. And because you thought that you could get a lick and some attention out of throwing these dudes under the bus, you did that. And who knows what happened? They may have did her wrong and she didn't like that, so she just made it up. And then what happens is these women, these things be getting away from these women, so they got to hold on to the lie, because they don't want, now it's about them not getting in trouble. But it actually startles them how quickly certain engines start moving, especially if you're a black female and it's moving on white dudes like that. And now you got to hold on to the lie. And then the prosecutor just did what he did. Yeah, he deserved every bit of that disbarment. And so a lot of these chicks do this stuff now. I mean, you see it with paternity fraud. These women will lie even after the truth has been unquestionably revealed. And women lie. And I'm sorry, I'm really getting tired of women coming up with all these little scenarios that they don't be lying. Women lie, and they lie a lot. In fact, I will go as far as to tell you, women don't perceive lying in the same way that men do. They really don't. Women, I've said this, they just don't. They see lying as just like a necessary evil or a means to an end. And a lot of these chicks thinking they can just, we kind of parlay that to, Jay-Z. And again, I don't know if Jay-Z did what he did, but what I do know is a lot of these chicks want to mistell. My biggest thing with the Jay-Z situation, and y'all see that video at the end of this video, so make sure y'all check that out, is that I don't see that she tried to do a criminal investigation on that. I don't, like, where is the police report? Or if the fact that her dad, didn't know until last week of that situation. I'm talking about of Jay-Z being accused. That's crazy to me. That means he didn't know then. And so it's kind of like, you got to have more than that. If you're coming this late in the game, and be fair, a lot of Cassie does have more than that. Did have more than that with Sean Combs. A lot of these people that went at Sean Combs, they had way more than what this chick has on Jay-Z. And you can show how Sean Combs was able to get that stuff shut down. You don't have that same stuff with Jay-Z. And if you did, then Busby would have put that stuff out there. So I'm gonna keep it real. I see Tony Busby as a similar kind of guy as Mike Nightfall, to be honest. That's why I wanted to kind of chain this article together. But you never know until, after the fact. So let me know what you think. Do you think that, this Duke Lacrosse situation was a precursor to the Me Too situation that would happen? Where were you, and do you remember this story? Because this story is a big story. If you're anywhere in my age, you remember this story. Were you in high school? Were you out of high school? Do you think this article, her coming out and saying what she's saying is relevant today? Do you think that she's saying this because she wants to get out of prison and kind of create this idea that she changed? She's with a black man that's beating her, but she's with a black man that's beating her. So that's that narrative that, black men are just inherently violent. So she's getting 20 or something years. Keep in mind, this is the same chick that lied on this Duke Lacrosse case. So can you reliably believe that that's how that really went down? And so, she said she's doing 14 to 18 years. 14 to 18 years. She went in 2011. So let's say she went in 2012. Yeah, she should be out next year. So she should. So really, it sounds like she's trying to get out to that more closer to that 14 years and that 18 years, which means she should be right about getting out of jail right now. That's interesting. That's like a whole nother thing I didn't even bring up, but I'm bringing up now. So let me know what y'all think in the comments. Do y'all think that, she's just doing this interview to get her name out there, so they can put pressure when it's time for her to get released? Um, do you think that she's gonna try to, get a social media following and do this "I'm saved" God thing? You know how they do. Let me know what your thoughts are. As always, make sure you like, share. If you're new, we talk about this stuff on a daily, on an every couple of day basis. Do live, shorts, everything. Make sure you check out my links in the description. If you got this far in the video, I definitely do truly appreciate it. Make sure y'all support. Y'all know how it is. Cash apps in the description. All that stuff is in the description. If y'all have a topic that y'all want me to cover, email me and we can talk about it. Definitely put a little change on it if you really want me to cover it. And with that being said, this is Edward signing off. Peace.